occurring. That's my kitty. That's my kitty Willow. Sitting beside us here. And welcome to another live stream. Matt, how are you doing all these live streams? How have you just broken out of your shell? I haven't. I'm still a little bit nervous, but I know encourage myself and everybody out there. Do your thing, man. Don't be so scared. Be so worried. How you doing? Magic Chemist? Magic Chemist is in the house. Lurking in the shadows. Got the little dust bunny popping over the box. Nice. Welcome, Magic Chemist. How you doing? All this music is sort of the same list I always have, so if anybody's sick of it, I'm sorry. You can just be like, shut up, alright. And I'll be like, we're not gonna do that. How you doing, Magic Chemist? You're number one in the chat. You're a top fan. See, I didn't know that's a thing. My wife told me that you guys get XP for putting in the chat. Am I? Is it stuttery? Looks a little bit stuttery on my side. Shouldn't be bad. My wife said you guys get XP. Hey, it's been good. Yeah, my day's been good too. I haven't done a whole lot. Kind of got up, had a coffee, got ready, did some of this stuff, got set up. But thank you. That's awesome. Good to see you. Anyhow, I guess you don't need to look at my big ugly mug here the whole time. Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. Cards. We're gonna reveal some cards. But yeah, I guess there's not much else to really else to get into. But hope you've been well. What you've been up to, Magic Chemist? You've been working on your stuff too, I presume. Yeah, sorry, I haven't been as active on Blue Sky and stuff, mostly because I've been trying to focus on this and YouTube and get some other stuff. I don't know if you know. Big deal. Having a baby, you know, actively. But I have a baby there. First ever baby in March, so I'm kind of cracking down on trying to do some of this stuff before it's kind of too late. Reveal some of the things before you get a little too busy. And also to show my unborn child that dreams are worth pursuing. How's your game and stuff going? How's all the stuff you've been working on? Actually, I should pop up your stuff here maybe. I don't want to like... Oh yeah, always busy. Always. Oh yeah, I was gonna move that chat box. Is that in a weird spot? Look, I can like actively move it live. Maybe for today, because we're not gonna be using this side too much. Put it over here, above me. Like chat. So far, number one. You're number one, Magic Chemist. I don't know how much. It doesn't show me what you get for XP. But what I want to try and do is get people to... What does? Oh, sweet. I can see you got 75 XP. That's awesome, because what I was going to do is try to reward people with the same amount of XP if you're in my Discord, which you can join if you want. I can send you a link or something, but it'd be cool if you want to join it if you're on Discord. But I basically like give out the same amount of XP, maybe even like coins. I've got Wonder coins on my Discord where you can put them towards shop items. Oh, that's really cool that I can see your XP. Well, you're killing it. You're killing it out there on your own. Anyway, welcome. So we're gonna show some of the card game that I've been working on for, I don't know, a long time, I guess. Like if you really put it all together, literally probably decades of planning and thinking and years and whatever. But as far as actually building out the game, probably since about 2023, and then pretty hardcore last year, I think, and a little bit this year, trying to get a demo, sort of an alpha deck. Meow. I've got my kitty here. I think she wants to leave. That's the problem with having these pets. Where are you going? Are you leaving? Because if you are, I have to open the door. Yeah, the whole world is waiting on you. Okay. Anyhow, I've been working on this game for a while, so it's in sort of like an alpha, leaning into the beta testing phase, which I guess, like, I'm not big into making card games, so I guess I'm just sort of guesstimating what that really means. But basically, in my idea, what we've got for the alpha is basically we've got the game mechanics built out, all the stats, about a deck of around 30 cards, sort of all the energy cards designed out, some extras and stuff like that, and then some prototypes and some like sketches on how to do the cards. But most of the cards, the alpha cards that we've got designed, are cat's lying by the door like she's gonna die in here. I always get distracted with saying other things. Anyhow, yeah, the alpha is basically make sure everything kind of works, everything is going. What all these little stats are, look like a lot of stats, but hopefully it'll sort of all make sense as we sort of go through them. It'll be fairly quick. I don't want to make this like a huge full day thing, but let's sort of reveal some stuff here. So let's start with, this is like our blank card. We'll start with like what are the stats, but let's start with the card game name. And what we've got so far for a card, like, title / card back. So, I wonder if that it's loud on my end, but I don't know if it's loud on your end. I can turn it down a little bit, because this will be a little bit more talky this time. Not as much drawy stuff. We might be able, maybe we can work on a card. Hopefully that's not too loud in my voice or whatever. Okay. So this is the rough card back that we've got designed, and by we I mean me, because I'm doing it all. Aside from any community input and things like that I'm trying to weave in. That's the big part of Warped Worlds. The game, the story, the characters, all of it, the lore, is intended to be fairly open concept, sort of community built collaboration. So while, yeah, I've built the structure of the card game and the rules and kind of designing out the worlds and things like that, I want everybody to... Awesome, thank you. Glad the audio seems good. Yeah, man, I struggled with the audio for like the last few ones I did. I didn't have my microphone routed properly, so it was just recording audio from my laptop, so my voice was really tinny and distant. And then the last few days I think I got it working, but then I tested it yesterday and it was crackling, and so thank you for letting me know. I appreciate that. If it does sound like total trash, let me know. I can maybe shut her down and restart, try to do something, but appreciate that. So yeah, it's like the whole concept is supposed to be sort of collaborative, and that people can kind of make suggestions, and that the game itself and the rules and the mechanics have a lot of layers to them, but they can be modular. So you can sort of, you know, take what you want. If there's a certain stat that you're like, man, I don't want to play with, for instance, the weight stat. Like certain cards have different weights, so like a medium card or an extra light card or an extra heavy card, you know, depending on the size of the creature, if it's or like a dagger compared to a broadsword, something like that. Those things you could just negate and say, like, I don't care, I'm not playing with weights today. A mouse can carry a broadsword, we don't care. So certain things like that, I tried to make them have layers so that if more advanced players and more experienced players and people who want a little bit more strategy can add those in. But hopefully my goal is that the game itself, once you sort of have the gist of the rules and the cards, it's fairly simple, and for the most part I like to think that the cards themselves usually cover most of the stuff. Because of that, we might get into some cards that have a little bit extra text, but I've tried to break it down in a way that's not so that you don't get that wall of text like a lot of TCGs tend to have. So anyhow, this is the card back and the title is Warp Worlds, the Wispening trading card game. So the Wispening is obviously a little bit of a parody on Magic the Gathering. Because again, like, I don't think we even really know what that means. The gathering of what? The magic? But the Wispening is sort of both kind of supposed to sound corny and sort of as a parody, but it's also, it is a thing within the Warp Worlds Wonderverse. I wanted to make that actually a thing so that it's not just a card name or a title name. So the Wispening is when all the different wonder energies of the universe, the different elemental energies like fire, water, earth, all that, fall out of balance in the Wonderverse. And these are the wisps, the little icons here. Basically, they're sort of semi-sentient manifestations of the different wonder energies. So like fire, earth, air, water. We'll go into them a little bit later on if we want, but basically the different types of energy in the world. So I just thought it would be interesting, like if the wisps all get out of whack and there's just all kinds of different wisps all over in every different world, and things are warping and the worlds are all sort of mixing and matching and blending together. So you'll have ice worlds and fire worlds and cybernetic worlds and cybernetic ice worlds and things like that, so that you could choose cards from any world that you really want and mix and match them, or you could choose cards that are themed, or so themed to that world or themed to those wonder types. So you could have like more dark cards or more cards that are based on cosmic energies or ice energies or whatever, lightning. So Wispening has a purpose to the name, but it's also kind of a corny name. Meow. Do you want out? Just a second. Get out. Okay. Come on, kitty. There you go. You're welcome. Okay, bye. Yeah. So, this is the title. Again, rough. Might clean up some of these things, but I thought it was kind of cool. I kind of like it. So this would be like on the back of the cards. And sort of the card box. So what we've got here is some cards. Well, we're not going to show them all exactly today, but maybe we'll do like a top-down demo either today or another day. And sort of show you the alpha cards that I've got created here. But this is my alpha deck. I don't know if you can quite see this. I guess I can make this larger, but it doesn't really need to be larger for the sake of it right now because it's the same darn picture, but you get the gist. So that'll be kind of the card back. And the cards on the other side, this is just plastic sleeve, and I just put some blank cardstock cards that I bought in there, and then I printed out some little paper ones that I've cut of the cards, and then also a paper backing. So there's 3 slips within here just to give it sort of a little bit of structure and keep them protected. And then also it's easier for me to just print these little pieces off and slide them in here than having to print double-sided cards or print them on cardstock all the time. So I don't know if anyone's ever making a card game, this might help you out. Just print little pieces on paper. I also designed these particularly light and easy on ink and with no pictures and such. So it's just easier and you don't spend as much ink and everything. So I don't know, I'll try to give my tips if I have any on how I made a card game. But yeah, so that's how I've made my alpha deck. Printed them all out on a 9x9 grid, 8.5x11. I'll show you after that as well, to make some test cards. And I gotta tell you, even if your card game isn't finished or it sucks or whatever and you don't know what's going on, getting the cards in your hands, like feeling physical cards and looking at them and like being able to read the things and flip them over and look at your art, or you know, and like put them in a card case and have them in card slips. If again, I just like collector's cards and I'm big into cards, and it just something about it made it feel so real to me, you know, it just comes to life. So I think that really helps. If you're ever working on a project, to be honest, like try to get those sort of little wins and those little steps, those milestones that kind of make you feel like you're making some progress, because it can be really tough sometimes when you're just, you know, shouting out into the void, either to other people or to yourself, essentially, of just kind of making stuff here. So, right. Well, I think we kind of get the gist. This is the back. These are the wisps. This is sort of the wisp grid. of the several different types of elemental wisps. There's sort of technically another few types in a way, but they don't really fit into that grid necessarily, so we didn't do that. But right, let's the tactile feels very warning. Yeah, exactly. You're totally right. Like, and it goes the same with anything, right? Like art prints. I don't want to give too many cards up here, whatever, you get the gist. But yeah, art prints, man, like getting little merch. Like should show something. Actually, this is one of my favorite things now that we're getting sidetracked here, but just around the tactile subject. But this is one of them, like my favorite things that I've ever had made, and I want to get these made as an option for people to buy or as like a special thing. But this one I might actually make my webcam big because it's just so you can see. But it's this little lark dandy. I don't know. I'm gonna try and get it to focus here, but it looks so much cooler than you can see, probably, but it's not as blurry as it looks, for sure. It's actually really clearly detailed. Shoot, wish I could get it to focus. Anyhow, it's a little acrylic standee of Lark, and they even do the backside. So again, like, it's hard to tell. Oh man, sorry, it's hard to camera, but there's this little acrylic standee, and I even like designed out the little sort of base, just a little, whatever, like some rocks or whatever, just threw it on some paper. So you send them like the base and the, I wish I could get this to focus. Anyhow, but it's super cool. It's just this little thin acrylic standee. But to me, this was just like, to see Lark living as like a little being, as a little toy, just made it come to life to me. And like that, it just makes me feel like it has to happen. Like we have to make these into a reality. Anyhow, back to the cards. It is super cute, thanks. Yeah, there's some really cute things. I was gonna, actually, I'm looking at getting plushies made as well of Lark, the little like starfish plushies, but they're a little more pricey. So what we're gonna actually do with those, I think, is set them up as a funded wonder, or a funder. Anyone out there who doesn't know, because I've been trying to work on those as well. Haven't quite released any yet. They're going to be on Ko-fi and Patreon and other things where you can basically fund towards unlocking things, either narrative or card games. Oh, I forgot my face is here again. Whatever. Narrative things within the game or story, or unlock certain cards, or things like plushies or t-shirts in real life where it's like a mini Kickstarter. So I don't have to run a main Kickstarter campaign and ask for, you know, $15,000 to start this whole thing, but we can kind of be like, what does the audience want? What do you guys want? Do you want to unlock Warp Worlds t-shirts? Then it's $250 to get the first run going, so everybody can kind of pay to get that sort of going, help me out, we get it going, maybe get everybody a discount, whoever pitches in, sort of like a mini Kickstarter. Everyone gets, you know, a reward for actually funding the thing. But then from that point on, now we've got overhead for shirts, and we start making shirts for everybody, and it sort of unlocks it for everyone else. So I think we're going to try to work towards things like that for the plushies and the standees and things as well. All right, boom, let's do this. So this is just like the card sort of blank that I've got that sort of has the stats. Sorry if I'm ever really not knowing what I'm talking about here. That's another thing about this card game. It's going to be a lot of sidebars. You'll surely be able to tell that I'm not super experienced with card games or with game design or any of that. So part of it was that I wanted to design it because of that reason, to make it and to show that you can kind of give it a shot and do whatever, and just for myself, because I wanted to always do it, and I held back because I didn't think I knew enough and things like that. But it's like, I took everything that I liked about other card games that I do know, RPG games that I do know. I'm big into like Final Fantasy, Kingdom Hearts, things like that. Those are basically the same game. But a lot of old school RPGs I played a lot of, and so I tried to weave some of those aspects into this. Again, Kingdom Hearts is a big one because of the different worlds and things like that. It was a part of why I wanted to do this, is that each world its own thing, but you can also mix and match characters and things, items, yummy. All right. So this is a basic card layout. Different cards will obviously have different layouts, but most of them will have some of these same things. So this is sort of what I made as a base. And then as we develop more cards, I'll actually get into explaining a bit more what each individual card stats are. So number one, boom, makes most sense, I'm sure. Card name. So Matt, Steve, Lark, Brant, whatever their name is, basically. But it can also be the item or the subject. So it could be Flame Sword, or it could be the world's name. So it could be the world name of Blandia or Wildwoods. You can have world cards and different whereabouts cards, different locations. So the name could be Marketplace, something like that. Blandia Market. And then the subtitle tag, that's again pretty straightforward. Hopefully, it's sort of like the subnatal, baby on the brain, card name, the subtitle and name. So if it was, say, Steve the Butcher, or Blandia, that's a world, Blandia World of Subtle Harmony. I can't remember what I actually called it now. I'm spacing out here, but So the subtitle or tag is sort of like just the additional thing. So Paladin of Light, or what have you. So it should make sense. But just there is an additional sort of a little bit of a flavor, but also as a descriptor. I'd say probably the next most important thing is up here is the wonder value. I don't know if you can see my mouse, hopefully, up in the top left. I should have somehow done this a little bit better. It's the first time. Hey, I've never done this before. Wonder value. Actually, I've changed that. Sorry, it's just wonder level now. See, this is an old card, but wonder level, basically the card's level, like the character's level, is essentially like. But we only go up to about 5 or 6. I still haven't quite decided, but essentially it's their overall power of the card. So, and the cost that it actually costs in wonder points to play the card, to activate it from your hand into play. So it does sort of play into the power of the card. So typically more simple and less powerful cards will cost less and have a lower wonder value, and more powerful cards like a big important god or a world card or a very powerful weapon will have a higher wonder value, wonder level. Sorry, I should change this because I can't even remember my own names. Wonder level and cost. So if this was a 3, that'd be about a medium character or item. So it would cost 3 wonder points to play. Each player gets 3 wonder points at the top of their turn by default. So wonder points are basically how you do anything in the game. How you activate cards, how you draw cards, how you discard cards if you want to, how you switch out cards if you want to, mulligan your hand, or as we call it, a whip switch, where basically you can sacrifice your whole hand and your next turn to switch out a whole other hand of 5. And 3 wonder points. So anyways, wonder points are basically the whole currency of the game, and you get 3 wonder points to do anything you want each turn by default. You can also get more wonder points, or they can be taken away from you, etc., depending on the cards. So that affects your wonder level and your cost in the top corner. In some cards, there will also be, this feels like it's jittering a bit, but in some cards, there'll also be a star here. I might change the symbol. But there'll be a star behind the wonder level, indicating that they're a worthy card, meaning that they could be a leader, sort of a leader of your party. Again, this is a stat that you can negate if you'd like to, but the idea is that you always have to start with a leader, play your leader card beginning of the game, and if your leader gets wiped out, it's game over. So the idea is to try and protect your leader card as much as possible. But again, you can play it, play it in a different way. There's also rules where you have one last chance to get another leader card before like one more turn to get a leader card into play before your game up, things like that. So, but those leader cards are called, there's going to be a lot of W's. That's going to be probably one of the biggest challenges. There's going to be a lot of W words, and I don't want to confuse people with similar words, but I think you guys can do it. So it'll be a star, which means they're worthy, like Thor, worthy. They're worthy of being the leader of your Wonder Party. Okay. And then hopefully this is all making sense. It's going to take a long time. We're going to have to explain. I don't mean today necessarily, but I mean we're going to have to explain this stuff all over again many a times on all kinds of streams, all kinds of ways, and refine all this. So bear with me. But you don't have to. Again, appreciate that you're here, but never any obligation for anyone to stick around for any length of time. You can come in. It's an open door, back and forth, and you can always watch the replay. Anyhow, let's get moving. Card type up here. Again, this might be changed to a symbol of some sort when I get the time to do each different card types as like an icon, so it'll be a little easier to read than just having a name there. Basically, that's just, again, a little bit of a descriptor of, say, if you're up here, you're Steve the Butcher, who would probably say you're either a Wayfinder or a Wanderer, depending on your party type. Basically, that's like a character. A Wayfinder is someone who stays active in your party once you've played them. A Wanderer is a party member that once you've activated them, they stay for a certain amount of time. Sometimes for an amount of rounds, sometimes it's conditional. So they'll stay until a fire spell is activated, then they're out, or something like that. So up here would be the card type. If it was a character, a Wayfinder or a Wanderer, there's quite a few different card types. And again, to think that the mechanics are basically the same across card types. So the card types are more of just a descriptor than they are really that different from each other. So this could be a Wayfinder, a wear like a weapon, or a wardrobe piece like a piece of armor. That could be a wild thing, which are creatures. Could be something like a wonder being, which are basically gods or summons. Again, those are sort of like wanderers typically, where they will only stay for a conditional amount of time. And if they do have a conditional amount of time, there will be a little indicator here that has like an arrow that'll say however many turns, or it'll say a C, which means conditional, which I'll explain the wits usually when they leave. Again, some of this stuff might not make as much sense as I'm describing it, but once we get into the cards, hopefully it does. Weight, again, like I said, should be fairly straightforward. That's the weight of the card. So if it's a small card, if it's a pebble, it's going to be extra light. If it's a whole world, probably going to be extra heavy. Again, we're not going to go into increments of every weight. So extra heavy might be a pretty broad thing, from being like, you know, a very, very large monster to also a world. And extra light might be something from like a small brooch to virtually like a spell or something that basically doesn't weigh anything. So it'll be a little bit of leeway there, but most things will be in probably the medium range, which would be like weapons and you know, standard sized. Well, I won't say standard because across the world there could be all kinds of different sized people and beings, but you know, we're talking medium. I think you guys get the gist. I like this song. This is a cool song. So that's one of the things that I thought. Again, you can negate weight if you want to, and say like, we're not going to play with all that. Just too many stats, which is fair. Anyhow, then there's the card Wisp type, and/or Z. So this is the elemental type of the card, their primary Wisp type, as I was saying. So it could be one of the main wisps. I don't know if we should get into that. We'll get into that after. Basically, they're elemental. Nothing particularly new about a lot of this, to be honest. A lot of it, like I said, is sort of inspired by different things, and then just trying to tweak it to be our own. And so it's pretty standard stuff, pretty elemental standards: earth, wind, fire, water, light, dark, lightning, ice, and then there's like an ethereal sort of cosmic energy. And then there's also a primal energy, but that's not necessarily a prime type. It's one that can like boost other types. So I don't really include that as like necessarily a wisp type. And then there's also, as energy creatures, free like wild wisp, which can be used for any other wisp type. But again, it doesn't really count as a wisp type. It's just basically a neutral energy. So I don't really count those as primary characters. If they don't have wisp type, it just won't be shown here usually, or it'll just be a circle, which is or the wild wisp. So that basically means that's their affiliation. So they could, if they're a fire type creature, typically that means they'll be weak against ice or water. If they were, you know, a water creature, they're probably weak against electricity or lightning, things like that. That's just something to keep in mind. Again, up to you if you want to play with those stats or you just want to ignore them. It's all a modular game, and you play it however you want and use whatever stats you want in a way. I like to think of it as a trading card role-playing game where you can kind of choose how you want to play it. Even some of the names have question marks where it's like you can just name the characters whatever you want. They're just like sort of up for grabs, as like you make them whatever you want in your own story kind of thing. So anyhow, next up will be attack and defense. Again, won't be in every card. Worlds don't have attacks and defense and stuff like that, obviously, for the most part. But for characters or wild things like creatures or wonder beings, they should have an attack and a defense. And if you can see here, this is a sword symbol, and this is a shield symbol here, sort of behind, so you get the gist. Attack, defense. So these will be in numbers, always in increments of 5. I just found it's a little easier to do the math. Might even still change it to 10, just because, and then you don't have to do fractions at all. But I think 5 gives us a nice variety, I guess. So attack and defense are usually in increments of 5 and 10. And then again, when you're attacking another card, you would minus their defense, and that would give you the damage done to their well-being. This is skipping again. My well-being, I don't know if you can see the WB down here. So that would be sort of like their health points, their hit points, HP, and anything else, but basically we're calling it well-being just to confuse everybody. We're doing everything with W's. Could have done attack and defense W. Already used weapon and wards, so we don't need more. So your attack and defense sort of are directly related to your well-being, meaning that somebody else's attack has to be higher than your defense to do damage, typically, unless a card says otherwise. Meaning, if your defense is 5, and my attack is 10, and I attack you, that's 10 minus 5 defense, meaning I do 5 damage. 5 well-being damage off your main hit points here with whatever maximum they're at, or whatever level they're at. I'll show you how we count those later. So hopefully this is all sort of making sense. I don't know, I guess I'm kind of jumping around and ranting a bit here, but pretty typical. Attack minus defense does your damage. It's actually not on these cards, but in these areas here on the right of the card and the left of the card here, there's also often a little either half a sword, half a shield, half a shirt, or half a gear, which indicates, like sort of on the side here, I'll show you with the other cards later, but indicates if they can carry those items. Again, you can play with those stats or you can choose not to. But basically that means that over here, if you see a sword and it says M, that means they can carry a medium weapon. And if it says a shield with a extra, like XH, that means they could carry a extra heavy shield and a medium sword. And over here, if there's a shirt that says medium, then they can wear a medium piece of armor, carry a medium sword, and an extra heavy shield. And the gear, widgets don't have weights typically that matter, so because they can be magical items, so it's usually just a number. So widgets are sort of accessories or magical items, and that'll usually be indicated by a number instead of a weight. So it would say like widget times 2, so you can wear a necklace and a bracelet. They give you some extra power-ups. Whatever. Anyhow, again, not everybody has those, but you'll see them on the other cards if they do. And you'll sort of be able to understand what they can carry as their characters, sort of in an RPG sense. And basically when you have those cards, so if you have a card that's for example, a medium sword, once you play it, slide it under that character, and that character is now basically equipped or wielding that weapon now. So now they get the bonus stats. So if a sword gave them an extra 10 attack, then now their attack was whatever was 10, now it's 20, etc. All right, hopefully these are making sense. Flavor text down here, that's just exactly what it sounds like. It's just flavor, it's just a little bit of flair, a little bit of stuff, like a quote, what the person is saying, the character would say or something, maybe a famous quote they say in the story, or it could just be a little descriptor, a little bit more about them, like, little did you know Chimkins really like the color purple. And that's like, doesn't have anything to do with anything, but it's just a little bit of lore, a little bit of something to give some flavor and some story to the cards if you choose. So that'll just be a little bit smaller and a little bit of a little info there. What y'all doing out there? Hopefully this is making sense. All right. Then the subtypes, descriptors, additional info, there'll be sort of a line here as well on the cards if there's anything else to sort of describe them. So again, as we were saying up here, if it's say Steve the Butcher, it might down here say, you know, weak against vegetarians or something like that. So, you know, if a vegetarian attacks Steve the Butcher, it might do double damage, something like that. So that'll give like the subtypes or a descriptor like that, a little bit of additional information. Or if it's a tool, say up here would say it's a tool. If it was a pitchfork, down here in the subtypes, it might describe the materials it's made out of. So it would say wood, metal, or something like that, so that if another card was like, all metal items are magnetic now and can't be used this round, then anything with metal in it can't be used, so it might be in the subtype description here. Again, all stats you could choose or not use if you don't want to. These are more like RPG cards that have their own sort of world and stats within them, and then you can choose to play with them or ignore them, or you know, make your little stories up as you'd like. And you can even change them if you want. If you're like, you know what, I don't like that the pitchfork is made out of wood and metal. I'm playing that my pitchfork is made out of candy canes and banana peels, and that's fine. I don't care. That's great. Actually, it's not even that I don't care. I think that's actually pretty awesome. If you want to play it like that, do whatever you want. It's fun. That's the point of this game. Just have fun. Down here, wits. Usually, typically 1 to 3, and that's their abilities, basically. Again, pretty straightforward. Should be fairly straightforward. Almost anyone who's played a card game before, you know, it goes art, name, stats, abilities at the bottom. Not trying to invent too much craziness here. So these are the stats, or abilities, I should say, your wits. So there's usually 1 to 3 of them, depending on the card. Sometimes they're powerful, sometimes they're just a little bit weak or silly, or they can be combined with other things to make them more powerful. But basically that means, you know, whatever, whirlwind attack, or bonk, or some sort of healing ray of healing, whatever. Then it's the cost, which means how many wonder points it costs once this character is in play, or once this item is in play, how much it costs to activate that wisp on top of what it costs you to activate them in play. So it's always about your resources and your wonder points and how you're going to allocate them. You usually have 3 per round, as I was saying, by default at the top of your turn. You can save them to roll over. So if you just want to pass and save all 3, and then you've got 6 wonder points to use for the next turn, and you can like create this crazy attack, that's fine. Big attacks do tend to have warm-ups or wind-downs, which are just right over here as well. So again, choose to use them if you want or not. But basically, that's just a bit of a buffer, so that if you've got a super powerful attack, and if somebody's like, I'm gonna save up 9 wonder points and then just blast you, doesn't quite work like that either, because some of them will have warm-ups. Meaning, if it was a meteor attack and you're gonna blast them with this huge powerful attack, it might take 1 turn to warm up. So you can activate it, and then it still takes another turn before you can actually do the damage. So the person has a chance to defend or heal or try to interrupt your attack while you're focusing on it. So Again, like there are buffers and things, so hopefully people can't necessarily break the game or exploit any of these mechanics or stats. I want it to be, I think one of the hardest things I've found when I play card games with people who are more experienced is it seems like, first of all, more experience aside, like if they're just better players and they just know the game better, that's one thing. But I feel like it's always like that power creep and that thing where it's like, just I've seen other people just, well, all your cards are just better. Like there's just nothing I can do. Like I literally can't attack you because your defense is so much higher that I can't do anything. So again, what I'm really trying to do is find outs for those things, like warm-ups and wind downs, so that a really powerful person can't just destroy somebody else immediately. Or if your defense is too high, I've got a mechanic called wavering, where basically you get a chance to stun that player and lower their defenses for the rest of that turn, so then you can attack them. So if it's a really powerful character with armor and their defense is so high that you can't actually hit them, like you can't do damage to their health, you can attempt to waver them, and at least you have a chance of stunning them, and then their defenses are dropped, and then you can attack them. So even if your attack is 5, you might be able to damage them for 5 because you wavered them. So I want these opportunities for the underdog, I guess, for lack of a better term, to always have a chance, so that the tides can turn at any time in this game. Again, with a lot of the other bigger mechanics I'm not sure we'll quite get into, but like the whispering phase, which is a phase in the game that basically triggers up different ways that you use the wisp energies. So if there's a warped wisping in the Ephira, means that everybody who wants to use Ephira, like fire energy, can now use fire energy for free. Excuse me, indicating that the Wonderverse has become essentially like overpowered with fire energy, and now everyone can use fire whenever they want. But it only lasts for a certain amount of time before the Wonderverse resets. The wisping phase ends, everyone has to discard their fire cards, and we start over again, kind of thing. So again, there are things that we've got put in to both boost people's powers, but that can also completely switch the game, and you know, somebody who was losing 5 minutes ago can suddenly make a comeback with some energies, or the wisping, or wavering somebody and managing to get a one-up on them. Anyhow, again, sorry if I'm going into a lot of tangents here. It's going to be hard to kind of explain this whole game in one sort of linear way. And you think this is rough? Try reading the instructions. It's all on Notion, but I got a lot of drop-down menus and stuff, but well, it's hard to, definitely challenging to organize a whole manual, I guess, for lack of a better word, guide. Just knowing how to make it clear without being too wordy, how to make it themed, like I do want it to still have the words and the lore and everything, but yeah, and to make it obvious what each of these terms means, especially when there's a lot of W's. Yeah, it's a lot, but it's fun. Do it. Make whatever you want to make. Okay, so we're still wits here, but basically you get the gist. The cost, how many wonder points it costs to activate that wit. So if I want to do a Mega Slash, it might cost me another 2 wonder points to do that. And maybe it'll cost me 1 turn to warm up, and then I can hit them on the next turn with my Mega Slash. Wind downs are basically the same, but in reverse, meaning the amount of turns it takes before you can use that thing again. So same thing. Maybe it doesn't take a long time to warm up, but you do a Meteor Blast that smashes every one of your opponents. It's going to take 2 or 3 rounds maybe to wind down before you can actually be able to do it again. Again, trying to slow these big attacks and not allow power creep and like just powerful decks and players and stuff to just devastate anyone else. They actually have to play certain things slower. So again, wonder points, if it's a more powerful attack, costs you more wonder points, so it takes you longer to save up. So another player might be weaker, but they can be chipping away at you at the same time. Stuff like that. The wit description, pretty straightforward. Or the instructions or the effects, exactly that. What the wit does. So if it's Mega Slash, let's say here, Mega Slash does 10 damage regardless of enemy defense. Meaning they can have 100 defense, it doesn't matter, you're still going to hit them for 10. Other effects, things like that. Sometimes it'll also describe if there's something different that happens during the wisping phase once it's activated. If it's activated, that might be listed there as well, because different cards might be affected by that. We're so close to the end of this card description, and then I'll show you a couple other cards, and we'll sort of do a few things here, and then we'll call her soon, but I don't want to make this too long today. Wefts. Again, that term kind of comes from weaving and wefts. It's basically the opposite cross stitching, I think, of... I can't remember what it's called, but basically it's the interweaving thing, more or less like a synergy, how things interconnect behind the scenes. So these are synergies and combos. So if there's a weft down here related to this card, say, again, this isn't an actual character, I just use this, but Steve the Butcher. Let's say you got Steve the Butcher, then he might have a weft down here that says, whenever meat is on the playing field, Steve gains an extra 10 well-being, something like that. Or you know, if it's Conan the vegetarian, then down here would be like, whenever Conan's around meat, his defenses are weakened by 10, so he can't stand to be around meat. And you know, so certain things like that are little additional wefts, again, little synergies, combos, little additional play things that might relate to different cards that are on the playing field for fun. So that could be something you can either play with to try and build synergies and combos with your cards, and know that, like, say, if a character, it says like every piece of leather armor or every piece of a leather wear or something you've got equipped gives you an extra 5 attack. So then you would know that you could build your deck with that character plus extra leather pieces, so that you know that every time you equip that character, you're going to get some extra bonuses from that. So those are some synergies and combos that will also work for you, but can also work against you. There might be some things there, again, that are weaknesses, or that are seemingly powerful in a way, but might be, you know, countered by a different card that you don't realize somebody has. So something else to sort of keep in mind. They're sort of not directly related to the card, or actually usually they're not necessarily an active ability. They're usually more either passive kind of, but essentially they're there if you want them. And then I don't know if you can see down here, it's got this weird bar blocking it in my browser. If I zoom in, is that gonna be weird? I think I can scroll. Okay. No, you still can't really see. I don't know why it's showing this bar here, but we're right down. We're almost there. Okay, I'm gonna move my ugly mug though. Oh, I moved the wrong thing. I still moved the wrong thing. Oh, whoa. Okay, so we're down here. We got world on the left. That's the world of origin. Whatever world that card's origin is from. Originated from. Again, this may or may not really matter. Could be something like in a weft where it's like all cards from the world of Blandia you know, gain an extra defense, or can't attack anymore, or whatever. But basically this will explain their world. So it could be Blandia, or Wildwoods, or Siberia, or Oceanutica, or Technova, Disto. Got a whole ton of worlds. Lavala, like I don't know, Saharidara, Jai. Anyhow, so each of these worlds are sort of themed either on elements, or on sort of like fantasy sci-fi tropes. So we've got a world called Victorious, which is like sort of steampunk Victorian world with like steam golems and airships and stuff like that. And we got a world called, as I said, Siberia, which is sort of like a post-apocalyptic Ice Age world where there used to be a robot uprising, and then they sort of like the Matrix, where they iced it all out, and now it's like sort of that re-emergence, what do they call it, future primitive kind of thing, where you got like, you know, Vikings on polar bears, but there's also still like old military bases that have healing pods and stuff like that. So it's kind of like a cross between Ice World and Cyber World. Anyhow, so the goal is to make all these different worlds and characters and stuff that you can either build together and have synergies and things like that. So you could build a whole deck made of cyber ice robots, or you could do mixed worlds where, you know, you've got an ice robot, but you've also got a flying mermaid that is powerful in this way, and you've got a flame sword, or you've got, you know, another world altogether. Anyhow, so there'll be countless worlds, and this will be the world of origin, basically just describing where that character's from, or that item is from, or what that world is. If it's actually the world, then it'll just be the same as the name. Alright, welcome anyone else who's out there. Thanks for joining us. We're just kind of going through some of these card stats. Basically, pretty straightforward if anyone's just joining us. I'm not going to go like all in depth and go over all of them again, but card name, that's the name. Subtitle, you know, if it was like Steve the Butcher, their type, that would be like Steve is a Wayfinder. Their wonder, it's at wonder level now, I haven't updated. Wonder level or cost is the number of wonder points it costs to play that card, or basically how powerful that card is. So the lower the value or the level, the less powerful the card is. Attack and defense, pretty straightforward. That'll be in increments of 5. Basically their attack and defense powers. Card wisps, that's their elemental affinity if they have any, and then over here we haven't listed them, but this is where you can see if they can equip weapons or items on the side. This is their well-being, which is basically their hit points. Their hit points, flavor text, a little bit of like quotes or a little bit of a descriptor saying like, hey, Chimkins like purple. You know, okay, great. So types, descriptors, additional information. I feel like I could have done this fast the whole time. Sorry, Magic Chemist. Everybody out there. All right. Subtypes, descriptors, additional information. Should make sense. Steve the Butcher, human, has a limp. Right. Wits with your cost, and then wisp requirements. Did I mention the wisp requirements? Basically, that's any of your abilities. Usually 1 to 3 of them are listed down here, sort of like a standard card game. And the cost in 1 points, which is like your theoretical currency. You get 3 wonder points at the top of your turn to do anything you'd like. So if a wit costs 1 wonder point, you could use that wit and then still have 2 more wonder points to do something else, like draw a card or attack again or heal or save them for the next round. Wisp requirement, I don't think I did quite get into that, but basically pretty straightforward as well. That means if there's any energy cards required, any wisp energies, which are the different wonder energies and elemental energies of the Wonderverse. Fire, water, wind, all that. We have different names for them, like Ephira, Atmos, or Aquas, Atmos, things like that, just to confuse everybody. Basically, they're pretty straightforward. So that means if it costs 2 WP, 2 wonder points, and say 1 wisp of Atmos, which is our air element, it would cost you 2 wonder points and 1 air card or Atmos card to play. And then sometimes it'll say either you can keep the card, like the energy card, or you'll just discard it. It'll tell you what to do. Wefts are synergies and combos. Basically, like as I was saying, Steve the Butcher is not really a character, but I just keep mentioning him because it's just popped in there, and maybe it is a character. Steve the Butcher, say he has a weft that is like a synergy or something that means like any time there's a vegetarian around, he gets enraged, so his attack goes up. I don't know. Warp Worlds down here. This is just our copyright, so that's pretty straightforward. That will pretty much stay the same, except the year will change depending on what cards are released. So copyright Warp Worlds. I'll probably put a little, maybe even a TM there. I don't know. TM copyright and a trademark. And then down here, bottom right, well, we're so close to finishing all these like basic card descriptions or stats. Series, that should be pretty straightforward again. If it's series 1 or if it's some sort of like, I don't know, maybe we do like a sub-series where we're like Lark's gardening set. It would actually probably be Uncle Grunk's gardening set or something, but I might say that here as a series, or you know, we do gold cards only, whatever. It'll be listed there. Rarity, that too will be, I think, 5 or 6 different rarities. I can't remember. So we've got pretty standard stuff. Got what is it, like very common, common, uncommon. Then I think it was just rare, very rare, and then I think we had wondrous, which is like sort of one of a kind or like sort of legendary cards. Pretty straightforward, so that'll just be listed as like an abbreviation, so R or VR or whatever. Very rare. Number, pretty straightforward. That's the card's number. So if it's card number 1, that's the first card that ever came out. If it's card number 2, guess what? Probably the second card that came out. But yeah, so those are basically the stats. We did it. We sort of described all the stats of what a wonder card will sort of have. Should be fairly straightforward for anyone who's played card games before. Essentially, this is your name, this is the cost, these are your stats, your attacks, and your health. Down here is your abilities, and then down at the bottom is any extra synergies or any things, but fairly straightforward. Obviously, there's a lot more to it, but I wanted it to be basic, and then everyone else can add the layers of the mechanics if they'd like. So we're getting on almost an hour here, which is probably close to what I was going to do, but we could still show a few more things, and then maybe we'll show a few cards, I guess, because I didn't really, I don't know, I was going to show a demo maybe, but maybe we'll do that another time. I did say we should do a demo though. So some of these cards are pretty rough, old concepts, I guess. For example, this would be my idea for what our energy cards would look like. I feel like moving my face down again. Whoa! This might change again. This is, I think you can't really see, but down here it says World's Copyright 2023. That's when I made this. Like I said, I've been trying to work on this for a long time. It's a lot. And I just been starting this year to really try to reveal a little bit more of it, and especially this week, basically, I've just been like, you know what? No more holding back. Let's show what we got. Let's get some feedback and see what people think, and let's try and build this out, because I've been kind of waiting on, I don't know, trying to figure out how it's going to work, and it's like, it ain't going to work unless we do it. You know what I mean? Show must go on. So this would be an example. I have many other ones of our wisps, but this is an example of our fire wisp, Ephira. The card might change. Obviously, this might be a little more colorful and stuff, but so again, not unlike some other card games where you have energies and things like that, but those would be what would be required for some abilities. So if you wanted to use like a fire attack, you might need Ephira cards. Most of the cards that I have made were like this, though. Very light on purpose so that I can print them off and not use a lot of ink if I want to print off a bunch of them as test cards. And then once we actually really design the card, they will look closer to this finished sort of full color version. Same with this here. This was a example of me just trying to draw maybe some item of Gardener's Pitchfork, but again, it would be more filled in with all kinds of color and everything. All these things would be much clearer. So this here is actually probably a terrible example, because this is way too much information on this one card. Again, a lot of this on the alpha cards, I deliberately put extra information because I hadn't designed out all the mechanics and the guide and everything first. So a lot of the cards kind of explain the mechanics on the cards, which might be eliminated a little bit more once people are familiar with the mechanics, obviously. So some of these cards will almost certainly be reduced in their the amount of abilities they have and the amount of wordiness. That's one thing if you've not noticed by now. I need to work on my brevity. Let's start with something. Let's start with Lark, I guess. So these are all the I think probably pause and see all of them, but spoilers, these are all the alpha cards I've got designed out. Let's start with Lark. This should say Wayfinder up here in the top right, because I've changed Wayfarer to Wayfinders, but this is a bit of an older card down here, 2023. Some of these terms might not be right, but Lark is one of our main characters, if you're not familiar. They're sort of, I always say the premier protagonist, because there's going to be a lot of different main characters from different worlds and different stories, so I don't necessarily think that Lark is the main character of Warped Worlds, but of their own story and their own world, sort of. And the one we started with. So Lark, as we sort of were saying, this is how a card might look. A Wayfinder card, which is a character card that stays in your party once they're active. Lark, that's their name. The Adventurer, that's their subtitle or tag. Up here is their number of their Wonder level, which means how many Wonder points it costs to play that card, to activate that card from your hand once you've drawn it. A star behind this, which might change so far, is what indicates that that card is worthy, meaning that Lark can be a leader card, essentially a leader of your party that is always active, and if Lark gets wiped out, it's game over for your whole party. Again, that's a play mechanic that you can take or leave, and you can choose to play it that way, or you can just choose to play all your worthy cards as just normal characters, or you can choose to be able to reinstate a worthy card if you want to, whatever you want. But basically, some of these stats are here if you want them, and you can take them or leave them. So the star means he's worthy, he's a leader if he wants to be, or they want to be. This here's the Wisp Affinity. Sorry, down here usually there's a weight, again in the newer cards, but I didn't put it. But Lark would be probably medium. Could be extra light if it was, say, a button, or extra heavy if it's a world, or, you know, big hairy monster. Down here, you know, hopefully this should have got a bigger mouse with the, like, the yellow circle thing. I think you should be able to see this moving around here, but over here on the sort of top right, we've got the Wisp symbol for Aquas, meaning that Lark has a Aquas or water affinity, which probably means that they're weak against fire, stuff like that, or strong against fire as well. Over here, these on the side, if you can see on the side, on this left side and on the right side here, still in the top half of this card, are little symbols of half a sword and a half a shield, and this is a sort of half a shirt on the other side and a half a, like a gear kind of thing. That indicates the wear slots, meaning the items essentially that this character can equip with other cards if you'd like to give them extra bonuses. Again, you can choose to play with these stats or ignore them, but the letters and numbers indicate their sizes. So say Lark can carry one medium weapon, one medium ward, which is like a shield, one medium wardrobe piece, like an armor, or, you know, a boot. We usually come in 2 boots, pairs of boots, but. And then this here, times 2, indicates that they can wear 2 widgets, meaning 2 magical. I have to sneeze. Excuse me. And we're back. Excuse me. Sorry, so ×2 means they can equip 2 widgets or wield 2 widgets. Widgets are magical items that, or accessories or whatever, that give you different abilities. So they don't usually have weights that matter because they're magical. So, you know, a big magical giant cannon of magic could still be equipped because it doesn't weigh anything, it's magical. Anyhow, so those are the items that say this particular character can equip. Some might not be able to equip anything, some might not be able to... Thank you. Oh, thanks, Mrs. A. I didn't know you're out there. Hey, Mrs. A. Number 2 fan. Oh, yeah, check it. I'm going to try and give you guys XP. Oh, 25. Duking it out. I didn't know you guys can get XP in the chat, so I'm going to give you XP in our Discord. It's going to be this whole thing is a game, this whole thing. That's what I want. I want people to feel involved and be like, oh man, I got XP, I got wonder cards, I got wonder points, I unlocked this, I unlocked that, because I came and hung out on a live stream. What? I joined a Discord and it's like a channel that, because I reacted to people I get on a secret channel. Yeah, what we're trying to do, man. A lot of stuff out there. It's going to be fun. Anyway, you guys, I'll try to give you some XP. Lurking with the hubs, Mr. A in the house. I don't want to say it. I said it already. Mr. A in the house. Mr. A in the house. How's it going? Oh man, I should have done some Siberia stuff. Mr. A is basically a Viking. More or less. A modern day Viking reenactor. It's freaking awesome. Alright. What talking about? Oh yeah. So their weapons or their whips. Oh shoot! He's lurking is right. Number 3 top fan. Oh. Dip. 25, 50. Oh, Alright. Alright. Yeah, these are the wear slots on the side here. So again, that means if they can equip, say, a weapon or a shirt. My doggy's whining. That's alright, she'll be okay. I'll let her out if we have to. Be right back. This here is your WB, or your well-being. So that's basically their hit points, or health points, or whatever you want to call it, if you're used to lurking in the shadows. Well, hopefully you guys aren't in the shadows. That's a little bit strange. It's like in the dark. It's fine if you guys are. That's fine. That's cool. I like shadows. This is your well-being, your hit points. Hey, thanks. Thanks, Mr. A. Yeah, again, like some of these whips and stuff, as I was saying, there might be a little more concise as we go, and these are sort of alpha card designs, so there'll be a lot more cool effects and stuff. They're not going to be quite this plain, but thank you. This is going to be probably the general layout. I think we might ditch some of these lines depending on the design. I'll show you some concepts we got, but so this is their well-being. This is their attack and defense up here in the top right. Usually there's a sword and shield, but this is an older card. Oh, it's past 10. Oh, I keep forgetting. That's right. It's like 2 p.m. here. That's awesome. Thanks. Well, thanks for joining. That means so much that you even take some time to swing by and sit and listen to me rant about a card game that I'm making. I don't know how to make a card game, so we did it. It's a game. It works. There's mechanics. I've played it with people. It happens. So it's now a matter of refining and yeah, sharing with people and seeing what people think and what we can do to keep moving forward. So anyhow, as I was saying, this should make sort of sense. These are their hit points. These are attack and defense up here. Attack is usually the top, defense is at the bottom usually. Meaning that pretty standard RPG rules. If you attack somebody with a lower defense, you do damage equivalent to your attack minus their defense. So if your attack is 10 and their defense is 5 and you attack them, do 5 damage to their well-being or their hit points, which would be down here, 35. So hopefully it makes sense. This here is usually flavor text. So for instance, Lark just says shiny because they like shiny things. They would say it in their voice, which is not like that. Shiny! Can't do it. Shiny! Ground, living, ice. This is like a descriptor usually of the card if there's any extra ones. So this indicates that Lark is a ground unit, not like an air unit. He's not flying. They're not flying or anything like that. Indicates that they're living, so they're not like a construct or inanimate. They're not a tool or anything like that. Well, they might be a tool, but you know what I mean. Like that. And then this arrow indicates that they're weak against ice. Ice is actually called cryos now, and it would probably show the wisp icon for cryos instead of saying the word. But this is an older card, as I said. This is 2023, so I shouldn't be really showing you some of these older ones, but that's what happens. They're all alpha styles. So these are just like extra indicators and extra things. So say if another card was like all living creatures receive 5 damage, then we know that Lark's living and it would receive 5 damage. If it was like all constructs receive 10 damage, you're like, well, Lark's a living person, not a robot, so they don't receive any damage. So these are just extra descriptors that help play the game in the way that you want. I like to think of them as role-playing cards more than just like trading cards. They've got a variety of different stats and abilities and things woven in so that you can pick or choose and make your own story and your own game session or play or style, basically, however you like. These are just some examples of some of their wits. Again, all this is subject to change, but these are just cards I made up to practice some of the mechanics and try out some of these stats. So, Wayward Charm, 2W, which means woo woo, which sirens, which means it costs you 2 wonder points to activate this ability. You get 3 wonder points each turn. By default, they're just theoretical points. You can save them for your next turn to activate more powerful abilities, or you can use them for this turn. So this would cost 2 wonder points to activate this, and basically more sirens. Costs 2 wonder points to activate, so you could save your 3rd wonder point for your next turn, or you could say use that to draw another card, which costs 1 wonder point, or you could use it to heal or something if you had another card, or play a card, etc., etc. So that's how much it costs to use this ability. And then so what I try to do is avoid the wall of text thing with a lot of cards. I do put a lot of sort of story into the descriptors or into their wits a little bit. Again, just because I like storytelling and trying to create like a character and I don't know, a story, I guess, with your game is important to me. I feel like that's one thing that I think a lot of card games are missing, is that they have this like loose lore sort of jammed into the game where you're like through flavor text or whatever, and you're like, yeah, okay, like, but there's no real story or real connection to the characters or real plot or anything in this, which is why I wanted to build it sort of as a story and worlds and things first, is that I want people to have a connection to the story and to the characters and feel like when you're doing an ability or when you're using an ability or a wit, it's actually doing that thing, you know. It's not just like just the name where it's like Firestorm. You're like, it's nice that you could imagine that, but I like sort of saying like, Lark uses Firestorm to bring down a storm of fire. You know what I mean. Ambulance. Yeah, maybe. I think there was probably an ambulance and maybe even a fire truck. Hope everyone's okay. But yeah, card game with story. That's what we're trying to do, is basically, I think I'd said, trying to sort of change it up now, but originally my goal was to make like a linear story where the audience gets to vote on like branching choices for the narrative. So you're like, oh, does Lark go left or does Lark go right? And if they go left, then all of a sudden we see this creature. If they go right, they discover that sword. And then in the story, as we unfold the story through comics or animations or just illustrations or even just, you know, text storytelling through Discord, whatever, then that might unlock other cards and stuff like that. So if the audience chose to go left and all of a sudden we meet a Chimkin, then we might unlock a Chimkin card and we can play with the audience as to what their stats might be and be like, well, what do you think? Story-wise, we ran into this Chimkin, and usually Chimkins bonk as their attack, but this Chimkin decided to, I don't know, drop kick. So this Chimkin card now has a drop kick move because we wrote that into the story with the audience, with everybody. So the goal is to create something with everyone, that I built a game that we can all continue to build, and hopefully everybody can even build their own wonder cards and their own things. As I was saying on the stream last night, as corny as it sounds, I want it to be sort of a movement where people can have their own wonder cards, even like, you know, even if it's in a digital format, you could like design your own and people can collect other people's wonder cards across the world and like scan your wonder cards and be like, hey, you got a wonder card? I'm like, yeah, I got one of my dog. You like scan that and now you've collected this, your friend's dog's wonder card that's got wits related to them, you know, like just silly stuff like that where it's like it could still fit into the game regardless of what it is, you know. So that's why you can have characters, items, worlds, whereabouts, gadgets, weapons, whatever you want. It's not just characters, it's not just summoning. Don't say summon. Don't say summon characters into battle. Patented. Anyways, the idea is that the cards are wonder cards in the narrative that use a wonder card weaver. It's kind of like an old Polaroid camera to like scan items in the world. So if I was like, I want a wonder card of this thing, this cup, this mug, this wonderful Mad Andre Arts and Entertainment cup, if you like would scan it and then would like print out a wonder card like on a Polaroid in the real world, and then you'd like have the cup's essence in your wonder card, so you can just carry that in you. That's sort of the goal, is that they open up a warp way to the actual sort of item's essence, so that you'd use a wonder card and it would be like, and then the mug would come out and be like bonk. And you're like, what? Where'd that mug come from? From this wonder card, baby. Makes sense. It all makes sense. Anyhow, so as I was saying, for the wall of text thing, because there's a lot of story and stuff like that, what I've tried to do is use font sizes and bold and not so much on this card, but what's the tone, I guess I should say, so that certain effects are lighter in tone if they don't matter as much, whereas in bold is sort of the main thing you can get the gist of. So for example, this one here, in bold, it just says charm. And then it's like, well, actually it should say target is charmed 2 turns. So that's, you can read just basically the bold and you get the picture. Wayward charm, target is charmed for 2 turns. Done. So that is hopefully like a shorthand of the way to read the stats without all this extra stuff. Because you don't really need to know, Lark uses their wits to charm a target. Choose a target to whip for a wonder value or wonder level, which means they flip a card on their deck, and then if their wonder level up here on their card is odd, so if it's a 1 or a 3 or 5, they're charmed, they can't attack or use offensive wits for 2 turns or until the charm is broken. Again, we'll go into all these kinds of mechanics and stuff later, but it's not what the point is today. Mostly I'm just trying to explain the gist of the cards and stuff. But anyhow, so what I'm trying to do is make sure that you can read these at a quick glance, as well as get a little bit more flavor out of them if you'd like. So you can just read charm, 2 turns, you know, it's like, okay, charms them for 2 turns, done. Wild Whiz Bang, again, don't really need to know all this. It should just say opponent misses their next turn in bold, but I didn't do that. But basically, Lark creates a dazzling distraction, is unnecessary, so it won't be as bold. And you just get the gist. So this would cost 2 wonder points, and because this is a circle and it's empty, means you can use any wisp. So that's like a wild wisp. So I could use fire or cryos, ice, whatever you want to create this whiz bang. And then this is a passive ability that they have called Wonder. Lark ponders their existence. And unless they're waxed, which means like they're enraged and basically can't control their abilities, they gain 1 wonder point at the start of every one of your turns while this card is in play. So it means at the start of every one of your turns you get 4 wonder points instead of 3 like every other player with Lark once they're in play. And I gotta tell you, that mechanic is stronger than I meant it to be. So I might have to change, because I played this with my friend Tobias, who was on the Chimkins. Thanks. Yeah, the Chimkins are crazy. All of it's crazy. I mean, I'm trying to make it silly and like kind of, I don't know what the word is. Just warped, I guess. That's the thing. Is that it's supposed to be kind of like a little bit of everything, but it's also supposed to be like everything on acid. Don't do drugs, kids. This, so this is the last ability. I played it with my friend Tobias. We played a couple hands. They played, and they were just killing me with this. Like, they had some other card, and again, this is all the balance, right? This is all how you got to figure it out. Because I can't just sit here and look at cards forever and hope that I'm going to figure out how other people will play them. Because Tobias did things that I wouldn't have thought of, and that's what's so great. Is that like seeing somebody else again use the card game stats and abilities and cards that I've designed and developed, and think and see their thought process. It was like, I wouldn't have thought to use it that way, but like Toby was doing stuff with like, so he had the extra wonder point here, and so he has 4 wonder points every round, so he's already got 1 extra, so he can play one more thing than me. But he had some sort of other ability that I didn't think on, I guess, which was basically making me lose a turn every turn. So then he had like, would just use like 2 wonder points to make me miss a turn, and then use his other 2 to just attack me, and then use, like, it was some sort of weird like cycle that it was like, I kind of broke the game. Like, he was nice enough to let me off the hook, but some of those things are tough. Anyhow, I think sort of hopefully get the gist. But these are the abilities, these are what they cost, and then if they have a wind up or wind down time here, it'll sort of indicate that you can either use them after only a certain amount of rounds, or what have you, to slow down. What's a Sparky microphone? Like, this is Sparky? Do you mean like, is it crackling? I don't mean it's crackling. Because it was crackling last night. Or do you mean because it's actually working and you hear my voice and how it sounds in my mind? Uh-oh, it's not Sparky. Alright, well, we'll just show some cards, and then what we're going to do on pretty much every other live stream now, from now on, is we're going to do a secret alpha card reveal, where it'll be like randomly live streaming. Yes, crackling is the word. No! Is it like that the whole time? Or is it just starting? I wonder if I can fix it. Hi. Okay. Stop the music for a second. That's what happened last night. It was working fine, and then it wasn't working, and then it was working. No. I don't know why it does that. Thank you for letting me know. Maybe I'll just have to pretty much call it soon then, I guess, but I can figure this out. Why? Okay, I switched it to my laptop, and now I should have switched it back to my mic. Oh, maybe, hopefully that'll make a difference. That what seemed to make a difference yesterday. If not, then I guess maybe we'll have to let this go and try again, because I don't want you guys to be listening to Snap Crackle Pop all the livelong day. Hello? Still crackling? Turn on some music, maybe. Maybe I'll just... Well, I will talk for a few more seconds here. And if anyone in the chat thinks it's still acting up, then maybe we'll have to shut her down. But I was probably going to shut her down anyhow, so... It has gone away? Oh, good. Oh, that's exciting. I don't know why it does that. 2 nights ago, like I think I said in the chat, hurrah, hooray! Oh, that's good. Well, that's exciting. Thank you for letting me know, though. I really appreciate that, because, man, that upsets me. It's just, and it's so for no reason, but I appreciate that you let me know that it just happened as well, because that doesn't seem to make any sense, but at least what I did seemed to fix it. I just changed the output and then switched it back again. Anyhow, we won't go too much longer here. You guys are having a late night. I'll let you all go. But as I was saying, on the streams from now on, the goal is to do like a secret, you guys can already see them, giving them away, a secret alpha card reveal every day. So it'll just be at random, so you have to tune in. And basically, yeah, just gonna reveal a new card every day from here on in and try to like gauge people's opinions, try to refine them, balance them out from here on. And we're going to start making new cards, I think, that are following in the mechanics and the stats that I've made so far, and we'll see how we do. But basically, I want to make one of our first cards, I think is going to be the Blandian Cactus Gecko, because that one was a collaborative effort. That was like a community-built card, or wild thing, I should say. One of our community members on Blue Sky. Oh, is it back? Are you saying oh to me? I hope not. One of the community members on Blue Sky and our, I don't think he's on Discord. They're on Discord. Necromancer. Suggested this lizard that gets covered in sand and grows cactus gardens and stuff, and I thought it was a super cool idea. And then some other people suggested some stuff, and Puff suggested some stuff, and Mrs. A drew a little comic of Cactus Gecko's tail popping off and stuff. And so I think we should make that our very first complete wonder card, that we're beta wonder card, because everybody kind of had a little bit of a say in that creature, and I think that's really cool. Puff kind of gave them some colors, like Mrs. A gave them some like personality. Everybody brought that thing to life, and I think it was cool. Oh, okay, good. Good, I'm glad it was just in terms of the cards. But yeah, I guess I can move this chat again. Is it better down here now? Whoa. Yeah, I think it'll be cool. We'll release one and we'll try to do some cool stuff at each stream. So let's show a couple more things. These are our energy cards. Again, not finished, but for print. Terrace is our Earth Wisp. It's got the Earth. Ephir is our Fire Wisp. Atmos is our Wind Wisp. This is actually wrong. This dark piece should be up here actually, but to reverse the Aquas like this, see? So they're the opposite. See, like wind up there with the flow and water down here with the flow. Fire going up with the flow, flat with the earth. Oh, air, Atmos. Originally it was Atmos because it was going to be lightning and storms and stuff, so I might change that to Eris or something, but then it also sounds like Eris from Final Fantasy, which I don't really want. Aquas, which is water. Fulmina, which is lightning. Zep. Lumina, which is light, so this light half up here. Umbra, which is dark, the dark half on the bottom. Etheria, which is like our cosmic or like ether or spirit, so it's a little bit of all of them woven in. And Cryos, so here is our ice, kind of like a frozen mountain or like an icicle coming down. Oh, chat is 17 seconds delayed for us, so that's why we have slow reactions. Well, thank you for that too. Again, like learning these things is awesome, because I'm pretty new to streaming and I keep doing it on and off, but feel like every time I'm doing it, it's like a brand new learning experience. But right, well, I don't want to give away all these cards, but this is an idea of a retro kind of wonder card. That this is going to be one of the first cards that I think Lark is going to get in the story. So it doesn't have all the stats because it's like an old card, like his uncle's card, before the wonder cards changed a bit in their world. So that way Lark and the audience can get on board slowly with stats, as opposed to being like 700 things on this card. Well, it's fairly straightforward. Their attack, their defense, their hit points, their wonder value is 1, their name, subname, Kooky Bakooker. Makook is their flavor text up here, their wild thing. This might be an icon at some point. And then Bonk costs 2 wonder points and does 10 damage. That's it. Straightforward. I don't want to confuse anybody off the top. Very simple. Chimkin! Thank you. Yeah, I wanted to go that like old school retro kind of Cuphead animation thing. Again, the goal is to have animated wonder cards at some point too. Eventually I'd like to do more of like an AR experience, an augmented reality thing, where it's like wonder cards either have NFC technology built in, which I sort of haven't sent it yet, but I'll be sending you guys an NFC token and a keychain that you could scan with your phone. So basically the cards would have NFC technology where you scan them and then it would unlock either like an additional ability or like the animated card on your phone, like that. So I thought that'd be really cool. But that's, again, down the line. But little Chimkin would be doing his little like corny little dance. Oh, this is one I'm particularly proud of, to be honest. So I don't like counter cards or counters, like having to have counters on your cards for damage, like I need a little coin or a token or something, which is great if you like those things. And I think later on down the line, again, we might release them as like a cosmetic thing for fun or collectible item if you want to have counters and character counters and things like that for damage. But I never really liked the fact that you always had to have something else with your deck. I was like, I just want the deck, just the deck. I don't want dice, I don't want counters, I just want the cards. So I've tried to build the card game only with cards. So this is a counter card that you can slide underneath your other cards. So it should be fairly straightforward, but you know, basically meaning that if I've got here Brant the Breeze Lancer, I don't know if you can read that, but say they're here's their well-being 25. So you would take your counter card and you'd slide it underneath Brant and put it at the 25. So that you know Brant's got 25 well-being, and if he gets attacked, then it goes down whatever you want until Brant's wiped out, baby. Except that I can't go backwards. Wiped out, 0. So basically it's a way to just count stats. You can use it for well-being. You can use it if you want to count, you know, your defense. If it's getting out of hand, you're like, man, I got 7 pieces of armor on, I better start counting it. Things like that. So the premise of the game is basically to either wipe out the other player's party or their party member, and or to collect a predetermined amount of win points, which you'll sort of get win points by defeating people. It's the amount of wonder points cost to activate them if you wipe them out. So if Brant, his wonder point or his wonder level is 2, so if you wipe out Brant, you get 2 win points. So if you want to play to 10 win points, you got 2 out of 10 win points now. So you'd still need to get another 8 win points by doing other things in the game to win. Anyhow, this is my counter card. I'm particularly proud of this because I don't think I've really seen something like this in other games. I'm sure there is. I'm not saying I'm inventing this and I'm a genius. Patent! Maybe I should get a patent on it. Anyway, But I thought it was a cool thing because I really like being able to just have your cards with you. So the goal is, again, if these ever do become cards and you get booster packs or whatever, that you probably get 1 to 2 of these counter cards in every pack, just so that you always have extra counter cards that if you need them, get them in like a deck box, and then boosters maybe. Again, these are just really rough card ideas, but this was super loose design for, again, all these stats would be much clearer. Like this was really too hard to read, but this would be darker and we'll have white outlines to pop them, such like. So and then I also might fade stuff out a little bit more if they do go behind the text, so that they're not just competing with everything. As I said, all this is really light because of printing, so I just kind of put this character here, and this is just super loose. I don't know if this is actually going to be the character here, but Makoth, Lord of Rings. They're just this weird wonder being, ape, imp, unicorn creature with 2 tails and a bunch of rings. You know, guardian rings and circles, and all of those who wander. Makoth ensures the safety of those lost in the fog. Thank you. Circle of Confusion, so he uses his sparkling rings to confuse enemies for 2 turns. Got a Shield of Rings, which is passive, so he manifests, again here, what we're trying to do in the bold. So Makoth manifests a spinning Shield of Rings that absorb the first 5 wonder well-being damage inflicted upon any allied war party member during any attack. Again, a little wordy, which I think we'll have to work on. And then again down here, it's extra, so it's not in bold, but this wit lasts until broken or until Makoth is wiped out or withdrawn. Down here, this one's for the Circle of Confusion. It's got this circle indicating it's got a wind down time. Warm up, wind down. Wind down time of 3, meaning once you use it, you can't use it for 3 turns. But it would cost 2 wonder points. And Etheria Wisp, which you probably can't see. But again, in bold, confusing in for 2 turns. Pretty straightforward. The rest of it's all just sort of flavor text. Circle an opponent with sparkling rings, blah, 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 until it's broken, etc., etc. Well, that's just, again, rough idea of how I might do some finished ones. Super sloppy. Again, this Princess Zayla was just like the sloppiest sketch ever, but mostly I was trying to figure out the idea as if I wanted to do like, for character cards or worthy cards, if they have like a full body and their face, kind of a sort of like a portrait and their full body and like an action pose. I was trying to play with that idea that we might go with that. Again, won't go too much into all these cards and stats, but Princess Zayla the Princess, Royal Command, Starlight Shield, Diplomatic Resolve, different things like that. So sort of story-based things. She's a ground unit, she's living, and she's weak against Spinids because she's scared of spiders. So any spider cards do damage, extra damage to her. So I'm trying to do these sort of story things. I am your princess and you will obey me. Princess Zayla. Damn. Okay, we're getting pretty close. I just want to show a couple more things here. And I think we'll show some stuff. This too, I think, another one of those things that I'm so proud. I'm so proud, just bragging. But this I can't really, again, take credit always for these things. But so I have one of these. Like I bought a bunch of these little plastic like stands. This is a little Warp Worlds, as I was saying, an NFC token. See on here, so you can scan it with your phone. I don't know if this one actually has anything on it. Let's see. Will this work if I scan it? Yeah, it did. Oop. So see, this little token scanned on my phone and opened up this Chrome thing, and then it takes you to welcome to Warp Worlds. Bing, and then it'll take you like to our Warp Worlds page and like explains a bit about it and about the cards and everything. But basically I can program these little tags, little tokens. This is just stuck on this thing. It doesn't have to be with this, but anyhow. And so I can program them to unlock different cards or unlock websites or different things. And so I want to build these in. I also got stickers so I can put them on cards or in things. They're pretty amazing. Anyhow, what I was saying before I got distracted with that was this little standee, which again, I guess I can make this camera bigger, but basically this little standee plastic guy, I bought a bunch of these for cards because I just feel like it just looks so cool when you can just like stand it up. But I was thinking that too would be cool if you could have card stands. So I did a prototype of like a cardboard one, so that it like basically the same design out of cardboard, but it'll hold the cards kind of the same. I don't know if this is gonna work very well but you get the gist. So the goal again was if we could, because I thought it was really cool and we might be able to do that for like your worthy cards, like your leader cards or something or whatever. It'd be kind of cool to have them standing up. It also looks really cool when you got that, and then you do the counter card underneath like this, and the arrow points to the stat. That's pretty cool. Anyhow, Matt's playing with his toys. But like I said, I wanted to do this for the cards so that when you get, again, a booster pack or what have you, would come with something like this. Whew, this is huge. Basically, it's the same size ratio as a card. So it's just a vertical card or whatever, but so you would get one of these with your, or maybe a few of them. And you get like a booster pack, and then you can like cut out a stand. You know what I'm saying? See, Wonder Card holder. Carefully cut me out and fold me in half. Then you cut this little guy out and fold this in half, and so you'll have two free, like 2 free Wonder Card holders in every booster, or something like that, that you can cut out and make your own little card stands. So I'm trying to make these again. I love collectibles and I love just RPGs, and I used to love that, like, you used to get all the stuff, you know, you'd get the big collector's box and you'd get like the map, and you'd get the instruction manual with all the little drawings in it, and then you'd get like a satchel or whatever as the bonus thing and stuff. So it's like, I really want to create these kinds of bonuses and very role-playing extra packs. I don't know if I showed everybody earlier, but this is one of my favorite things, my little lark. It's hard to show it, but it's not very focused. It's a lot clearer, but you can't see it. Anyway, my little lark acrylic standee, I got a custom-made one once. A little base and everything, and they even have the back, a little bum, tail and everything that I designed. So these are super cool. I want to bring these out as well and sell these because I think it'd be cool to have little characters and just stand in this little base. And you can make them so that multiple standees in a base, so I can make like a little scene with Lark and a Chimkin or whatever. So I don't know. Again, playing with my toys here. This ended up being from going from card reveal to all of Matt's little silly little Worlds toys. But the goal is for us to play with these things and have fun and dominate the world with Warp Worlds. Anyhow. We made it! Oh no, Toby, no! I was like just about to go. Oh, welcome. I was kind of saying goodbye, but I was showing just now. It's here, welcome. How was work? Did you find out about your fire spinning yet? You got the gig? Toby's a fire spinner. Tobias Washburn in the house on the chat was one of the few that have actually played Warp Worlds. We played a couple hands together in Edmonton, and they destroyed me. Not really, they were pretty nice, but there's definitely some mechanics that could be exploited and broken, and also just that Tobias is just way more like experienced in card games, so. But no, sorry, Toby. Well, I can maybe stay for a few minutes. Let's stay a couple more minutes, but I should probably get going. I gotta let Pamela out. That's our dog. You know that. I don't know if anybody else does. Pam cakes. This is a card holder, as I was just sort of describing, that I designed so that you can get these in the booster packs or whatever when we release the cards. This is the same size as a card. It's just a sideways card. Yummy. And then so you'd have these shapes like this, one like this, and one like that. And basically you can cut them out and create a little cardboard Wonder card stand like that. Well, it's going to be hard to hold it now, but so that each of your booster decks can have some cool little effects. So locked in. I get it. Again, you're the one person that knows all of this stuff anyways, or one of the few. Saren, has played and given me some feedback. So you would have just been like listening to me rant about the same stuff that you already know. So you're probably lucky you didn't catch any of it. Anyway, this is my design for some Wonder card holders. We're just showing some of the extra stuff. We're just revealing it all, you know, who cares? I care, that's the problem. I care a lot. Anyhow, let's show, while you're here, Toby, let's show one more idea of some of these concepts that I was maybe developing for some cards. So I have this idea of maybe doing like how the cards might connect. It's funny because I actually thought of this, I'm not original, I've seen this in other cards before, but I think before somebody discovered that Pokemon was doing that. And super rough, ugly drawings here, but an example of like Grunk, Uncle Grunk, the head farmer, and a brown chimpkin scratchy bonker coming at you. But basically I was considering the idea of having cards of the same world that could kind of connect through their backgrounds. They're the individual cards on their own, but they also blend in to form images. But that might be too much work, and just too much. I don't know, maybe it's just too much all to the edge and stuff, but I really do like the look of it, so I'm not really convinced either way. I'm not sure. I obviously don't think I'd have this like speech bubble here going, yeah! This was just a different drawing that I threw in there, but Grunt giving a good swinging fist there. But yeah, and then I kind of tried to elaborate on it with some of these other cards, and then I gave up, so this get really extra sloppy as we go here. But it's the idea that it would be a like a 3x3 9 grid, so that if you wanted to put it in card sleeves in a binder, each one would form like a mini poster, 9x9 or 3x3. So again, super sloppy on this side, and I was trying to see what it would look like if I did this portrait plus a body image, which kind of does throw off the whole thing then if we do it that way. So I don't know. But basically, yeah, this kind of idea where it's like if you had sort of a ground units would be in the middle plane, different things like this is like dry field, so like a whereabouts or like a tool or cron or whatever, so like items and stuff could be on this plane. And then as you go up into the sky, this would be like cloak floating up here, a dustwing falcon up in the sky, or a kooky bird flying up in the sky. So like ground units would be in the middle, sky units would be at the top, stuff in the foreground would be down the bottom. I'm trying to make like a poster, but not sure we'll do that. We might do that as just like some cards do that and not all of them, but not sure. A repeating pattern. That's not a bad idea, actually. Yeah, like a seamless kind of background so that no matter which way they connect. I like that. I like that. Can maybe do that. Each individual could have their own window behind them with like their own sort of unique thing, but then the background would all be blend so that, yeah, every Blandia card would connect with every Blandia card, every Siberia card would connect with that. That's pretty smart. See? Why we have these things. That's why we brainstorm, because they're so smart. Thanks, Mrs. A. I might try that out. Anyhow, I think near the end of what I was going to try to show today. I was going to maybe try to do like a demo of cards versus cards or something, but I think that might be a whole other day's biz. But, yeah. Go super all out, all creatures from the same actions they field in their cards, yeah. That's not a bad idea. I think, again, like, the only thing that I was worried about was because then the point is that there's going to be cards from all different worlds. So, what was that? Oh, a piece of muffin. I had a piece of muffin on my arm. I have a muffin down here, okay? I guess I touched it. Don't judge me. But, yeah, they could all share a field or whatever. Like, that is kind of cool, because then cyber cards would all be like that. It is a really old card. But this is one of the first ones, 2023, and a Chondroid might still sort of, but this is a little more techy than I wanted to, but it depends again. Each card might have a little bit more, thematic elements depending on their world. So if it's a tech card from Technova, it might look a little more techy like this. If it's a cozy farm card from Blandia, it might look more like that. Still like this idea where I did the font different for each ability, but I don't know if that, again, be a little bit too much trouble and a little hard to see maybe, but all these are kind of different now. But this was the original first design where I was trying to figure out how to place things. Anyhow. Saving the muffin for later! I know I lost that crumb though. I have to find that later. It's on the ground. My bird will eat it. My dog. No, I had a little bit of muffin because I got up and I had coffee and then I was like ready to do a stream and like quaking. Anyhow, well, I think we've sort of showed what I want to show. As a recap, do a little quick recap. So if anyone just showed up or anyone's joining in, this is basically what most of our Wonder Card stats will have. Some of them will have different things. You got names, you got the titles, you got your Wonder value or Wonder level, sorry. That's how many Wonder points it costs. Your weight, your attack, your well-being, just like health points. You got your descriptors, some flavor text. Down here we usually got our abilities, nothing crazy. How much it costs to activate them. And we got our wefts, which are like synergies. So say, you're got a card that's weak against fire. It'll maybe say that, or it might say it in the descriptor here, but you know what I'm saying. World down here is the world of origin, our copyright, and our series and rarity and number of the card. But basically, it's fairly straightforward, just a lot of stuff, a lot of stats. And yeah, this is the back of our cards so far. And the card game name is Warped Worlds, The Wispening. We've revealed it. Yes, 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 thank you. Thank you so much, Mrs. A. Thank you for stopping by, Mr. A and Mrs. A, and have a good night. And thanks so much. I know it's late for you guys, so thank you. And rest well, and have a good morning. I'm gonna enjoy the rest of my day. Thanks, guys. And thanks, Tobias. I'm gonna head out as well. I'm sorry you just got here, man. But Tara's up, and I think I'm gonna go and make some lunches and get our day started. But I'll have to join you again for some more playtesting and stuff tomorrow. If you want to join, you're welcome to. Tomorrow night at 7 p.m. We're gonna do some more about Lark, I think. Do some notes and do some ref sheets, and we'll share a little bit more about the comic we started working on yesterday and stuff. It's at 7 p.m. live, and I don't think we thanked our patrons. But maybe we did, but let's do it super quick. Come, there we go. I forgot. J.R. Timmerman, I'm sorry, at the top. J.R. Timmerman, World Serendipity, Indie Game Origin, Matthew DeRoche, Puff, Richard Pringle, Bell Sheepry, Mrs. Artism was in the house, probably gone to bed. Thank you. The other James, Magic Chemist, is in the house. You still out there, Magic Chemist? Still lurking? If not, thanks for coming. And if so, also thanks for coming. Check out Magic Chemist. They've got all kinds of awesome stuff in games as well. You can check out their Blue Sky, I think, is it magicchemist.bsky.social, I hope I'm saying that right. I'll try and put it later. Tobias Washburn in the house. Just got here. Sorry, Tobias. Oh, there's not a lot to catch up on. Well, there's a lot to catch up on, but I think you probably know most of it. And Nico M. Nico, you can become a member today at patreon.com/warpedworlds. Thanks for joining us. Thank you so much. I'm Matt Andre. I'm your Wonder Master, and thanks for joining us on this live reveal of the Warped Worlds trading card game alpha. From here on in, on every stream, we're going to reveal a new alpha card. So stay tuned for that and jump in, and it's going to be at a different part every time in the stream. It's going to be a secret, so you're going to have to watch the whole stream or get through it to see it. But if you enjoyed this, please give it a like down below. A thumbs up. It really does help boost it in the algorithm. Thank you. And if you want to drop a comment, if you have any card ideas or anything, and if you want to join our Discord, I'll try to put some of those things in the description if they're not in there. But if you're still out there, Magic Chemist, thanks again. Thank you, Tobias. Thank you to everybody, anyone else who's out there. I love you all. Wonder stay. The wonder in me. That's the wonder in you. Is this gonna freeze like it did yesterday? Yesterday my wife said it said stream ending so. It should say stream ending soon. It should repeat. But we're not sure. Thanks again. Love y'all.